G'day guys, this is WTF. This is Where's the Fridays, and we're here with Rob Birdsey, and I've got a special guest. This guy, his name's Tennessee Owens. He's done a whole bunch of stuff, and we're just about to get into it. Basketball coaching, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate you coming in and getting this over while we can get things started anyway.
Absolutely.
So you started, basketball's been in your family forever, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a family business type thing. So, my dad's a basketball coach, and it's just been something that's been around me my entire life. I grew up with it, and yeah, he's coached all over the world, NBA, G League. Back then, it was called the D League until Gatorade bought the league. So, and then old CBA, which is the Continental Basketball Association, IBL, International Basketball League, and then just plenty of leagues overseas, China, Kuwait. He was in Japan last year, Venezuela, and then now he's in Kosovo, which is a really good league, kind of near Serbia.
Wow.
This is just something that I've always been used to and accustomed to, and we've always talked about there's no plan B for me. This is what I was kind of born to do, and but I fell in love with it. I was never pressured to do anything with it, but at the same time, I did grow up around it, and I've loved it since day one.
So obviously you've been exposed to it from a very, very young age. So in that aspect, I'm going to ask the question did you play any other sports?
I played coach pitch baseball, and I hated it. And then I did 1 year of tackle football, and I also hated it. So I played soccer. I was on like the blue team. So I don't even know. Like it was just something that like I was really athletic for my age. I just was really coordinated. So I could have played other sports, but basketball was the only thing that I really truly loved. So, but no really other sports. Basketball from day one till I graduated college.
Wow. So I think I like soccer. I think soccer is pretty cool. I love basketball. I mean, this has been so much fun to be able to go to the games with my boys and get exposure for them. I suppose football, I used to play rugby, actually. I was right wing.
So did my dad.
Yeah.
My dad's played college rugby.
Yeah, it's a hard game.
Yeah, he's got a torn labrum, big scar from rugby.
Yeah, so. Yeah, you break everything.
Oh yeah, you do.
There's no protection.
That sport is no joke.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing I like about soccer so much is you don't have to get in there as much. You know what I mean? If you're smart at it. So I suppose then it's similar to basketball. You guys are all elbows and stuff to the face, right?
Yeah, I mean it's physical sport, especially the brand of basketball that you play. Depending on who you play for, it just really depends on the coach. And I mean sometimes it can be your nature, and then the tenacity that you play with and how hard you play. It's different from every player. So there's no real blueprint, but at the same time, like, yeah, it's a physical sport. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it as far as, getting hurt, all that type of stuff. So, but there's definitely some jazz to it, like some finesse. I think it's a beautiful game. The strategic aspect and just the X's and O's aspects, I think, is the most pure form of sports.
I like that.
So
going up through it, at what age were you like really, really serious and starting to understand plays and was that from a young age for you?
Yeah, I was definitely really young when I started to understand the X's and O's. There's actually a picture of me at like maybe 5 or 6 years old drawing plays on a whiteboard. It's just something that I always picked up, or that I picked up really early. And obviously that's from my dad. So, but like really understanding and drawing plays that actually made sense.
Yeah.
Probably like 10 or 11. I mean, I was really young. And that's something I'm probably, I'm better off now that I learned it, but that was around that my entire life. Like, I mean, when my dad was either a head coach or an assistant, I was in coaches meetings with, professional basketball coaches and film rooms with NBA players and semi-professional players. And I just paid attention. Back then, 10, 11 years old, it's different nowadays. We didn't have smartphones. Like I wasn't just looking at my phone the whole time. So a lot of it was just, I would go to the gym with my dad and I'd spend the whole day there. And when they were practicing, I I'd just sit in the locker room and watch video or watch film. And if they were watching film, I'd go out of the court and I'd play pretend games with myself as one person.
Yeah.
So I pretend that there was 9 other guys on the floor. I would score. I'd go to the scoreboard, and then I'd add 2 points, and then I'd pretend I get scored on, and then I'd add 3 points. I'd always win.
Yeah.
I'd never lost a game.
Sure.
So,
but you'd make it close, right?
yeah. I'd make it close. I'd always make sure I'd hit the game winner. I mean, this is like when I was like 11 and 12, 9 and 10 years old. But to answer your question, yeah, I was always pretty well versed in the strategic aspect of basketball, and I learned it at a young age, and I think it's helped me. I'm better served now.
Yeah. So I mean, that's all strategy, right? You come down to working out. So that's a powerful thing, especially when you start to realize when you have that strategy advantage. I mean, you're probably going, 13, 14. Now you're starting to implement it. Are you reading? Clearly you're going out on the court and you're reading the plays of what they're trying to do. Are you outsmarting them with what you know, what you have?
I mean, now everybody's good. Like everywhere you go, no matter who you're playing, there's good coaches on every staff. There's good players. So I think it'd be a little naive and arrogant to say that you're better than anyone else because they're all.
I know about now. Yeah. I'm talking more about when you're a kid, like 13.
Oh, 14. Maybe I don't know. Like,
but you gotta have.
I definitely. Right? Like, for example, like ball screens, pick and roll. I definitely had a better feel from that.
Yeah.
In that than I did, or than the other kids.
Yeah.
But and I could tell when like maybe a coach's kid, or like a kid's coach was a parent. So like if one of the when that was pretty common.
They were always
very often the coaches of the teams were parents. So I could tell when they either had little to no experience in coaching basketball or somewhat or excelled. So I could tell whether or not they really, really knew what they were talking about. And that I credit that to the amount I was around basketball growing up. But at the same time, like it's something that I would agree. I could tell if you were excel, like if you were advanced in knowing the strategic aspect or if you were not. So, but yeah, I wouldn't say I was outsmarting everyone, but there were definitely some things that I knew more than the average kid. I was one of the few kids growing up that only played one sport. So, I mean, all my friends played football, baseball, soccer, and I really only played basketball. So, yeah.
So let's clearly the dream had been planted from a very young age, right? So let's talk about that. You played ball for New Mexico, is that right?
New Mexico State.
State.
So
and is that where the dream kind of died for you? Like you didn't continue, or
I was like 5'8", 5'9" in like 8th grade. So like I thought I was going to keep growing, and I didn't.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of hope, and then it kind of just went away. But then I think in like 7th, 8th grade, I knew I wanted to be a coach. I always knew I was going to be a coach, but I didn't know when that would be. I, of course, had envisions and dreams to play professional basketball. I never had the pipe dream of playing in the NBA because I was set realistic expectations and goals from my family and my dad. Like, that's so hard. There's 300 jobs in the NBA, and they're all multimillionaires, and like really 100 of them are never going to get their job taken because those are like the stars. And then there's the role players, which is the other 150. So really you're looking at 50 jobs that you can get. And then there's, hundreds of thousands of players that want those jobs. And I wasn't good enough, and that's okay. But one thing that I was taught early is that there's professional opportunities overseas or minor leagues. But I would say when I graduated college, my body was done. I had severe patellar tendonitis. I had some Achilles pain. Some shoulder stuff, some lower back stuff. So I think that played a role into it. And then now I feel great because I stopped playing. Actually forewent my last 2 years of eligibility to become a coach. So I could have kept playing for Coach Jans, but I just couldn't do it anymore.
Well, I think you saw the writing on the wall. You sound very logical about, and I'm sure your dad helped you come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
You've laid out there's 300 jobs, 150, the second grade, 100 grade, 8th graders. Yeah. Just to hear you speak like that. And what age is this? Like, what are you, like 17, 18?
I was like 19 or 20. But at the same time, I was I mean, I was a walk-on at New Mexico State. So like, and that the writing's on the wall there too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was a really important, integral part of the team. A lot of it was behind the scenes, and anyone you ask, part of that program would say the same thing. I have no problem like owning that. I know that for a fact. I was important to that team, but in a different way. So I wasn't a big heavy minute guy, and that's fine. I could have been a really good Division II player. That's what I probably would have really excelled. But I kind of took a different approach. When I finished playing, I was way more appealing to programs for graduate assistant roles coming from New Mexico State, a very storied program, and a unbelievable coach like Coach Jans. That was more appealing than if I had played at some Division II. So I took a different approach. I looked at it through a different lens and said, like, hey, if I'm coming from a really good program as someone who didn't play that much but wants to be a coach, then I would be better served. So yeah, but the dream, I guess, quote unquote, I guess, died in college. But I knew before that I wasn't probably going to play professionally.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it sounds like you're living your dream now.
I love it.
You're building it.
Yeah,
and that's pretty amazing to even have that wits about you. What's your age now, if you don't mind me asking?
I just turned 25 in March 31st. So
wow.
I'm just 5 months into 25. So
rock on.
Yeah,
life sounds pretty good for you.
Yeah, I like it here. It's very pretty, and the city is awesome. It's growing. It's a lot of buzz here, and I love that about the situation. We have a chance to be really good this year.
Oh, no, this is yeah.
Yeah,
it's looking good.
Yeah, it's looking good. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do. It's August 30th right now, so that's super early. But at the same time, like, there's a lot to be optimistic about. Like I said, we have a lot of work to do, but I feel really good about the group we have. We're going to be really deep. So, but yeah, the dream is being lived out right now, and I'm just enjoying the journey. So
that's great.
Yeah.
What have you guys implemented this year from last year? Or were you from last year? I'm sure you were building into this year, right?
So we added depth. We're going to be a lot deeper this year. Last year, if anyone went to the games, you would see that we didn't play a lot of guys. We had a lot of freshmen who redshirted and just weren't ready to play.
Yeah,
and we had some injuries towards the end of the year. So one thing that we really wanted to add this year was depth. I think we have the chance to play, 12 or 13 guys consistent minutes. It could be more. Like we're not gonna just set the mold right there. But we have 22 players on our team. We'll have two. I don't know how many redshirt. We have 2 redshirting right now, but I mean, all of them are good enough. So that was a big point of emphasis in recruiting this year, to add depth. And then I think more than anything, I mean, we got the job in mid-April last year. So, and we had literally 5-6 weeks to put a roster together. So we had no time.
Yeah.
So I think this year, more than anything, our feet are under us. We understand the layout of the university. We're comfortable now. Our day-to-day has been in place for months. So I just think we have a lot more comfort and sense of, like, we know what we're doing. And last year was just so all over the place, sporadic. It was Coach Jeter's first year in the WAC. I've been in the WAC before because I played in this league, but it was
champions, right?
Yeah, I won it 2 or 3 times, and yeah, we were really good.
That's awesome.
But I think for Coach, he understands the league now.
Yeah,
and I mean, for people that watch the games, we were really competitive. I mean, we lost 21 games last year, and out of like their 21 losses, 15 or 16 were by 10 or less, and then we lost like 5 or 6
no,
games.
you guys were close.
Yeah, so we were right there. It was definitely a season of like what ifs and alternate universe, but yeah, definitely added more depth. The team vibe is completely different. The camaraderie, the feel, the chemistry is a complete 180 flip from the year before. The guys like each other. Not that they didn't last year, but I mean, we've already had our guys hanging out and
getting a rhythm.
Yeah. So, and then practices were good. They're competitive. I think that more than anything, having multiple players at each position is very important because it brings the best out of everybody else. So I would say those things were really important for us going into this season.
Yeah, I like how you sewed that up there. To find a rhythm is something very special for a team. There's so many moving parts, right? What do you mainly concentrate on as far as your role within the team?
I do a lot of the player development, and then during the season, I handle a third of the opponent scouting. So one of our assistants is most is a big time recruiter, and so he will go on the road for a lot of the season and recruit players and go watch players he's recruiting. So well, I guess part of the reason I was hired is I'm a young guy with a lot of energy, and I'm really good with the player development. I have a good feel on how to get players better, and then being a coach's son, understanding the game at probably a different level for my age is that I know how to scout opponents. I'm really good at with my organization and understanding what other teams are going to do. So, and then a lot of day-to-day stuff, honestly. I like to be known as a Mr. Do-It-All. I don't have a set mold of my role. I
You
like
can go all
being
over.
available, accountable, responsible. So, I don't like telling Coach Jeter no when he asks me to do something. So if there's something he needs, I just try to get it done.
You're a
And so
candid.
there's a lot of things that I did this year that were never discussed when I was getting hired. So, for example, camp coordination and travel or designing uniforms. That's what I did this year. So, like, there's
Wow.
all sorts of stuff that I do on a daily basis that is not in my title description. But
It's
coach,
probably
yeah,
overlooked too, right? Like
yeah,
a
it's
nothing
good
job.
for experience too. It's
Sure.
great. I'm 25 and I get a lot of stuff thrown at me. There's a lot of people my age in this business that don't do anywhere near what I get to do. So, although it might be more work, I love it. Like I wouldn't be here if I didn't love it. I love working for Coach Jeter and I love the staff that's around me and I love the players. But Coach Gutting, who's an assistant on our staff, he always says like college basketball coaching, it's other duties as assigned. So you might Coach Gutting's an assistant coach, and he's been doing, like, for example, he went and bought waters for our guys to have at the end of their run yesterday. Like that's not in his job
No.
description, and that would be something that usually a graduate assistant or a manager would do. But it's just like stuff you would do for the program. It's being selfless, being a servant leader, all that type of stuff. So yeah, my job is pretty widespread. It's broad, but I love it. I wouldn't ask for anything different.
No, it sounds like a lot of fun.
It is.
Um, I I have to add, it's honestly, man, like for 25, I didn't think you were 25. I thought you were around your 30s, to be honest
Oh,
with you. When I
really?
first met you,
Yeah, people
like
think I'm
last year, like
21 or 22,
yeah,
so,
yeah. No, well, I mean, you look young, sure,
yeah,
but anyone can look young.
yeah,
But it's the way how you carry yourself, and you carry yourself with a lot of weight. You know what I mean?
appreciate
Like
that, yeah.
you bring that pizzazz of you're there to do stuff, and you're not to be reckoned with in a sense. And I thought that was great. I like that in people. I like people that can be assertive and to be able to yes and no. You'll
Mhm.
tell a person no and won't think nothing about it. Where some people that would just say yes is because they don't want to be confrontational. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would totally understand. Yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of that comes from just living around the world, seeing different cultures.
Yeah.
Um, I spent a lot of time by myself, so,
That's a
I
good
mean,
thing.
living overseas, I mean, I lived in hotel rooms. Now, granted, they were very nice hotel rooms, but I lived in hotel rooms in countries where I didn't speak the language. So I picked up Spanish in Venezuela and I learned a lot of Spanish. Now, a lot of it's gone now, but I used
Sure.
to be really good at Spanish. So I think a lot of that just is being with my own thoughts. A lot of that was trying to make friends with people that didn't speak English. So I think it all comes into that, like it all comes together. Like I maybe had to mature a little bit younger than most
Yeah.
because I was by myself in a different environment than the average 8 or 9 or 10-year-old. So for me, I just think I guess I'm seasoned. I've been
Yeah.
around so many different cultures. I've lived in like 25 different places. So,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't trade my journey for
No,
anyone
I
else's.
think
This
you're on a
is
really great
interesting to
path.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's something to be said about when you walk a path by yourself, right? Like when you, I mean, usually it's like you go through something major. You not so much have gone through something major in your life. I mean, I don't know unless you have or not. It seems like you've had a pretty decent life, great family, a lot of support around you. However, you have been pushed into areas where you're a foreigner. You don't know what's going on. You can't understand the language.
Yeah.
I mean that's almost pushing you into to be by yourself, to have your own thoughts, to be able to have that quiet time. It's like when people are healing and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Most people they don't want to face those demons. they're hard demons to follow, you know,
For
what I
sure.
mean? And they go out of their way not to, you know, sleeping around or whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's not a great scenario for
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah. I haven't yeah, like I'll be honest, I haven't been through, generational trauma or
Yeah,
life-changing issues. I've been very blessed. I mean, it's not people get it misconstrued a lot with like my father's profession. It's a very volatile
oh
business. Like, I
man,
mean, like it is more results driven than I think than any other business. Obviously,
100.
I mean, if you don't win games, you get fired. That's just how it is.
Yeah,
And everyone knows who you are because you are in the spotlight. I mean, depending on where you work, some people care more about the basketball program than other places. But I mean, everyone's gonna know who you are. You're under a bright light, but I've been very blessed. I mean, but I have seen a lot of hardship with. I've been fired.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when we lost in the championship in Kuwait, I was 22 years old, and I got a call saying I'm fired. I was 22 when I got fired.
How far did you guys get in the championship?
We lost in 3 games. We were up in game 1, and one of our Kuwaitis just like lost his mind. He just had he never played like that before, and he just kind of lost his head, and they ended up hitting a 3 at the buzzer to send it to overtime, and then the momentum was done. They had every bit of it, and then they beat us. And after that, we just lost both games by like 10 or 11, I think. And after that, we got the call basically that we were fired, and that was it. But that's pretty standard overseas. If your GM thinks you're supposed to win the league, we had no business winning the league. That team that we played were paying their imports, $500,000 each, and we were paying ours $100,000 each. And the Kuwait club who we played and lost to had the best Kuwaitis. We had maybe the second or third best Kuwaitis, and that's just how it goes. So, but I've definitely to answer your question, I mean, I've been very blessed. I haven't had a whole lot of, issues, but I've definitely still had some hardships finding basketball coaching jobs and finding the right fit. I could get into it, but at the same time, it's everyone has their own problems. Everyone has demons that they're trying to fight. But I feel really good right now in the position that I'm in. So, but yeah, I've been blessed with a lot of support around me.
Yeah, well, it seems like you've just been groomed for a very long time to be
Yep.
able to know how to take things, and that's a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the good thing I think about it is I just want to touch on it a little bit more. Just the fact that if you're down, you don't look for resolve somewhere. You'll sit in it, and you'll learn to roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's probably advice. Just give that to everyone, right?
I agree.
Sometimes it's good to be lonely for a hot second to be able to know how to roll out of that. So you're looking at a good season. Actually, can we touch on your dad for a little minute?
Sure.
I mean, LA Lakers. I love LA. I go there quite a lot. Watch the Lakers growing up. You know what I mean? And how was that out of his career that he's had? Is he still building and excelling, or is he? Where do you think? I'm probably asking 5 questions here right now.
Yeah. I think he's at the point in his career where he's kind of hit every stop. So he's coached in the NBA, he's coached in the G League, he's had jobs overseas. I think he's at that point where he just wants to be a head coach now. So for him, that's kind of where he's at. Now, he just coached in Japan last year, which is one of the best leagues in the world. It's one of the fastest growing, one of the coolest leagues. Japan loves basketball. I mean, sold out games everywhere you go. Wow. A lot of money involved in the league in general. So it's really well ran, first class league. So that was a big stepping stone for him. Unfortunately, he just didn't have the best team. The Japanese players he had were not very good. I don't know how accurate the brass's description of the players were when my dad took the job.
Interesting.
So I think my dad was dealt a really bad hand. Obviously this is going to come off extremely biased because I'm his son, but I think he was dealt a bad hand, and I just don't think he had a lot.
Do you think he can go back and pick up a better team now that he's more?
Yes, 100%.
Is he looking like that? Is he wanting to go back over there and do that there?
Yeah, I think eventually. So, but yeah, we'll see. But now he's in Kosovo. It's a good league, so I think he's excited about it.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah,
So he going. How long is it? How long was he over there for?
he'll be there for 10 months. Yeah, he'll be
Okay.
there for 10 months.
So he's on his way back now. Is that what you're saying? Still
uh,
working it.
yeah. So he's over there now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so that's where he's at now, and then so I think he's excited. I think his team's gonna be really good. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's kind of where he's at now.
Great. So I suppose for him, it's maybe more like a go over there and build something substantial, and maybe bring that back here and sort of pick a team that he really wants to be at. Is that the sort of guideline of what
Yeah, I think if he wins there, he has a chance to
ideally?
have a better job. So we'll see. But yeah,
Yeah. Do you think you're following the same suit, or are you just gonna
I'd love to coach
take
overseas one
dues?
day.
Yeah.
So, but I love working for Coach.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to work for anyone else right now. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. No, I
he's the
appreciate
best
that.
boss I've ever had, and the environment that I work in is amazing. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for anything right now.
Walking into the office there, the environment is pretty
Yeah, you've
amazing.
been in there.
Everyone
You see
is
it.
so
Yeah, he's very
cool.
friendly. He's
Yeah.
awesome. He's just a normal human being. Like he's a
Yeah.
normal guy.
Yeah,
So
really nice.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is gonna be part of a speaker series. We're gonna bring
Yeah.
in all of your team in here. We're
Yeah.
gonna have a good chat about
Looking
things.
forward
And
to it.
get all the bios off people, and yeah, it should be fun. Thanks for kicking this off for
Oh,
us.
absolutely. Yeah. Looking forward to getting someone else next week. Maybe a player or one of the other coaches. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Tennessee. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
We'll go back now. We're gonna go into Lenny Kravitz, Human.